All right, traders, it's December 21, 2023, and we're going to be looking at the markets, a lot of different markets today. Looking at the daily, weekly, monthly, doing a little bit of high time frame, maybe a little bit of back testing. Not in any positions, and I don't intend to be in any positions. I don't want to hold over the holiday weekend, Christmas weekend. It's unlikely to have big move anyways. People aren't at their desks. My experience is there's probably not going to be a lot of activity until January 2nd. Maybe we see some trends start. Maybe there's some volatility next week, but this is a good opportunity to do some higher time frame work and some psychological work. Also, the last week I've had a pretty bad stretch here where I haven't really had any winners and I've lost a bunch in a row, which is fine. It's part of trading, and I'm happy to just be flat and chill and come back with reduced risk next week or the following week. But the way that I'm trading, um, I'm trading a low win percentage system the way it's playing out with a high risk reward. So I'm okay. Why is it spazzing? Spazzing. 19 wins. And a lot of losses. 44 losses, 30% win rate. Let's look at what my RR is. And this is an estimate. I'm trading so many accounts that it's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty accurate. So I've made 40 R and I've lost 33 R. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the money that's been lost has been trading Forex pairs. It hasn't made me money. And then not holding my index longs as long as I probably should have would have made a big difference. But anyways, let's get into it. So let's start with gold and silver, which appears to be pushing higher. Yeah, I would maybe buy here, but I'm just going to do nothing again because let's review my system as well because I don't want this losses to keep piling up. I'm looking for price to close above a previous monthly, break a trend line, or reverse at a monthly. I'm also looking for pin bars. I'm buying green, I'm selling red. Um, or I'm buying a bullish wick, selling a bearish wick, trailing my stop, etc., etc. So if we look at silver, do we have an interesting trend line anywhere from here to sort of? Not really, though. I would say nothing too clean to the upside to look for. But closing above this consolidation, but it's choppy chop. So, I mean, what would really be a signal would maybe be closing back above this high and then closing at a new all-time high or breaking this trend line, or in January if we sweep this and start to come up, that could be tradable. Gold also not showing clear trend line. Silver, yeah, I think I'm really going to reduce my risk And when I come back, look at silver. I mean, nothing really interesting. Like, I could chase it higher, but it could just be chopping. It's not really giving a great signal. Platinum, I had this long up here. Didn't have my stop set quite right, I guess. But it would be looking okay. Oil, I had considered a possible oil long from down here, but running into some possible resistance, bearish pin bar. Leave that alone. It looks like we're in a downtrend. And while this is a monthly low, it's not a swing low. It just happened to open the month right there. So I don't really see a very clean play on any of these. Let's go to crypto. So if we can close above this high, near the high of the day, that would be a long for me. But if that happens, it would probably move so fast that it might not be tradable. Trades that I'm looking for. So I would be interested in a trend line breakout to the downside. What I would be looking for that would potentially be in January. Taking this high, falling under. But as of now, I was in a long somewhere on this day, and sticking with it would have been good instead of shorting ETH. Yeah, ETH, I think there wasn't confluence on ETH, so I took a couple shorts on ETH. This trend line didn't break, so sometimes it happens. And yeah, I mean, I think we look at the market as just kind of strong still. I mean, I want across the board weakness. I was looking at ETH dominance, how down it was, but it rallied a bit. Total 3. Okay, the altcoins are breaking out. I'm kind of curious what they are. Near, Polkadot. Yeah, oh wow, interesting. Just look at curious, near, and dot. Solana's that big. Why? Interesting. But as far as Bitcoin and ETH, I don't consider these super tradable. Right now, I mean, for ETH, we're kind of in a chop. On Coinbase, we did sweep the low, but also we're just volatility compressed. So I don't know if it should come out to the upside or downside of this compression. But the more time we spend, the clearer it will be once it starts to happen. This trend line is not really very long enough to be very exciting, but it's something to pay attention to. This is possibly, yeah. But I mean, as far as my system goes, try to trend line break. Okay, it didn't work. We're above this. Maybe we should be long biased still, but I'm perfectly okay not trading this today. I don't really want to buy near the highs when it hasn't broken out on Bitcoin. Volatility is kind of coming out. Let's look at, just out of curiosity, Solana. What's going on with Solana? Pretty insane move. Curious if my system would have picked this up. Well, I guess so, in terms of as long as we're above this and we're wicking here, we're staying long. Especially yesterday. But then today it would be actually a sell signal. Would be, yeah, I mean, it looks kind of like one of these days, right? So that's interesting. My system would have picked it up. It hasn't been a super clean trend in that it's not many days, it's a couple big days. To get near. Wow. So check this out. That's actually like too steep. Yo, October, when it started to move here, okay, reversal signal, reversal signal. So the early signal for my system would have been long on this day. And the legit signal would be long on this day. So if we're long on this day, that would be pretty good. I mean, long on this day would be good too, but wow. People underestimate these high time frame trendline breaks and how crazy they can be. But I mean, sometimes they don't work. Sometimes they do. I think that I've been over trading and I need to reevaluate. I think I want to maybe consider putting in a rule where I just while I'm in drawdown, create a rule where I cannot have balance risk on every account. This will help me. This is like a specific way to help me stop over trading or reduce my trading. I think that I've been not demanding enough confluence. I've been obviously taking a million trades every day. I took so many trades in December so far. 43 to like 30 trades. 45. So 30 plus trades in 20 days. Okay, almost moving on. Solana near dot. Let's look at dot. I'm not trading. Might come back to these at some point. And maybe trade stocks that look like this too. So the first one was here, didn't give much, right? But this one, hey Kendra, this one, So the first signal would have been on this day when we had a break and close above. And then, however, presumably we would have gotten stopped out somewhere in here. And then the next would have been here where we're over and we're ignoring this first reversal. Maybe we would take profit here anyways. For sure getting stopped out on this day. We never, it would have been a stop here. And then chop comes in. When is it making sense to be long again? Probably on this day here. Or somewhere in here as we're drifting higher. Kind of breaking out of that consolidation. Maybe this day. And then we're able to hold over here. We're going to get stopped out over here. And this one. Although yeah, I mean, either way, exiting in there would be reasonable. And then I was like a pin bar entry. Yeah. So let me take some notes here. Let's see, to work on would be leaving some accounts flat. I'm going to do that. As a way to trade less. Wait for more confluence. Between assets. Wait for pin bars. Okay, so I'm done looking at these. These are interesting. I can't trade them on prop anyways, but I mean, they would have been awesome. However, in my system, you cannot long a super big day, even though we might go higher from here. So, Bitcoin, Ethereum. This was on my to-do list. Just to look at the M2 money supply. It actually has been going down. Hasn't started going up yet. Peaked in 2022. Okay. M1. Velocity. Yeah, okay. M1. Still going down, actually. Although the velocity of money's picking up. Okay. That's important. Got the Fed funds rate. You know, this might be actually interesting to add. Yeah. let's do this. I'm gonna take this off for now. I'm gonna add a section. Oh no, not a section. I need to do more visualization of me not taking trades. I'm gonna add, how do I add a list? Create a new list. Fundamentals. Fed funds is gonna go perfect. Okay, I don't really need wow, interesting. M1 money supply. And then inflation. Okay. Yeah, I should have been doing this a long time ago. I think this is a big win for today. So we look at the inflation rate. And then I can compare this stuff, but okay, inflation is coming down. Federal funds is supposedly peaked. I mean, there's this idea that we couldn't go higher than where we went in 2007, but we did. But we made a higher high, so it'll be interesting. The U.S. money supply. What is M2? Okay. The velocity. Is picking up. M1 money stock. Oh, nice. I have a weekly for this. Okay, so what is this telling me? Not too much right now. I might explore the correlation a little bit more, but okay, so crypto's done. Yeah, let's just look at the monthlies coming in. Like the trend is clearly up. So I need to be careful on the monthly, careful about shorts, but we can go from bullish to bearish quick. ETH not quite as much because we have this big wick on the monthly currently. Gold. Platinum looks good on the monthly. Okay, let's move on to Forex. So I haven't even looked. Now, we can look at it. I'm going to look at USD, GBP, and EU, but I'm not going to trade them anymore. And the reason why is the system that I'm trading is based on staying with trends, and a trend for me is trading in the same direction for a long time, and particularly having many days of the same color in a row, or at least not violating the stops in a downtrend or an uptrend. And what I've come to realize is if we look at the Hong Kong dollar, The Hong Kong dollar, oops, Hong Kong dollar. The Hong Kong dollar. Look, it's pegged. So it does trade in a range, 1% range between 7.75, 7.8. But it doesn't. Maybe it's even tradable. You would need pretty stupid leverage to do it, but it's pegged, right? So if it breaks the top, it breaks the low, probably break out. It's not very tradable down here, but perhaps once it starts to reverse, it can trend nicely. So that's something I want to pay attention to. But so let's look at this for instance. Oh, I already have it up here. On the monthly, it trades in this nice tight range, right? Although it may be tradable compared to Bitcoin, right? So I had the idea that the Euro USD and so on, they're actually loosely pegged to a dollar. Um, they're kind of loosely pegged. And what that means is on the daily, we don't really see, I mean, we do get good trends, but if we compare them to some other assets, right, it's so choppy. Look at this downtrend. We had this is on the daily. Super fucking choppy the whole way. March 2020 produced some good moves. And then even this downtrend, there's some tradability, but you have some times where price just doesn't, it's always retracing, right? So you can trade, I'm not saying it's not tradable, but it tends to retrace because of being pegged. Mean reversion trades work a lot better. It's like a GBP, USD. Not as strong as the euro today. Same concept. It doesn't move that much. It's kind of pegged, right? It's kind of pegged. It looks like the Hong Kong dollar. It doesn't look like Bitcoin. I guess in 2007, I mean, 2007 had some insane. When was Brexit? Is that when that was? No. Brexit was later. AUD, this is the last one I'm going to look at. Which I was long on from here. But I also, for the same reason, don't really want to trade it anymore. Now, compare these to, do I have the shekel here? Compare these to the Brazilian real. The Brazilian real looks like Bitcoin, right? This is the monthly, right? This is a legitimate strong trend. Why? So the difference between white people, Western money, look, I have the Americans, the Australians, the British, and the European Union, they all speak English. They're seeking stability. They're trying to keep financial parity, they're it's soft pegged, right? Whereas if our enemy is Russia, we want to destabilize their currency, right? That is what we want. So the chart's going to look way different. So I want to trade countries at war, enemies of the United States, or just countries that are not allies of the United States. I'll be back in a moment. The sun's out. Okay, we back. So just from a higher time frame, let's look at the Brazilian real, the South African rand, the Swedish krona. Doesn't look quite as good. Thai baht looks. I don't know that I want to trade this one. I'm gonna pull it. Hungarian forint. This also doesn't look quite as good. Singapore dollar. I like it because it's strengthening. So this is like a contrarian play. So I could go into there. Mexican peso. You just see how different these charts look, right? Okay, these are charts that I want to trade. Similar USD JPY looks crazy. USD Chinese yuan looks crazy. Like these are different charts, so I'm okay leaving the main USD pairs behind. Okay, so all that said, let's get into it. So USD JPY, man, I've really been struggling with this. Losing money back and forth. I was short down here, and then I long up here. If we have my system on, I would be looking to sell under here, but I mean, I think we would want to look at EU and GBP in the same. GBP looks. We broke trend lines. It just looks like something's going on here, but we are consolidating. I suppose I would want to wait for a close under. The problem is that the moves have been so big. Hasn't been like an orderly rally, right? So it hasn't been that simple to trade it. But I'm not going to trade, but I would be interested in being short, paying attention to this pin bar. The Chinese dollar, I haven't really done any analysis on these other pairs yet. I haven't done any back testing. There's no surf today, so I might stay an extra hour to work on this, and I intend to do some back testing over the weekend, which I might upload for you guys, but we're looking at, I mean, it can trend up, it can trend down. It has strong trends, right? These are, it might not look like a huge move because it's 15%, but then when you consider an average day might be a 0.26%, like this is some pretty incredible trends, right? So where are we now? Actually, we have swept these monthlies, so this actually looks like a good place to be long to me. If we're considering I do want to do something here. How do we add federal funds rate? compare the weekly. Turn this off. Is it going to let me zoom? What the fuck? Let's not look at it this way. Let's add another plane. And here, put the I want them to be fixed. That's why I'm trying to do this. I'll put 2010 down here. I need more time. Put it back to 1980. We'll start with 2000. So we see, I mean, what's interesting is even as they were hiking rates and the dollar was getting stronger, the Chinese yuan was still strengthening. And then here we had hiking flat. So, I mean, in theory, we could have a downtrend in a hiking cycle being long. A weak currency kind of makes sense, right? Well, the Brazilian real was strengthening. I mean, look at this. Interesting. South African rand. So when we see red on this chart, it is the dollar weakening. So here the dollar was strengthening versus, right? Even the cutting rates, the dollar is still strengthening. Sorry, my brain's not working here. When the dollar going green, since it's inverted, with an EU chart, EU USD, when it's green, the dollar is getting weaker. When it's green, the dollar is getting stronger. So yeah, the dollar gets stronger and stronger. Does it get stronger during rate cutting? No, it gets weaker. But it can go in nice trends too. Sec. It almost doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, I guess the play is to be short the dollar. So what is the strongest currency versus the dollar? The peso has been doing well. And then what's the other one? the Singapore dollar. So trading the Singapore dollar is interesting right now. Let's go back to one plane. Right. So if we think about the dollar being weak, right? The dollar's in a downtrend as of right now. It's moving down, right? So we would like to sell these USD pairs, not long them, but enter at the right time. And as the dollar is getting weaker, we're interested in the problem with being long. Maybe just not trade Forex that much when this is happening. Well, some of these I can really trend. But if they're in a high time frame uptrend, okay, so a couple of the more interesting ones here are I mean, some of them are at interesting places, but like from a high time frame perspective, the Singapore dollar is interesting because it strengthens versus the dollar, and if the dollar is getting weak, I want to look at it from a different perspective. And then the peso is interesting. The peso has been getting strong. Why? So let's look at the peso compared to the euro. Look, the peso has been strengthening. That's interesting. And then Singapore dollar versus the euro. As well. It's been strengthening. So I'm identifying the Mexican peso and the Singapore dollar as possible shorts. It's been a while since we had a big trend, but okay, so I'm going to come back and do a little bit of back testing around that idea. The last place to look is indices, which I wish I didn't have a short, but I don't now. Same here. I mean, the best thing is mostly just along them. There's bear markets that come in, but yeah, I mean, 2000 was interesting, and then 2008. The COVID crash was crazy, but clearly on the monthly we're in an uptrend. I did try a short because we had this big red day right at the all-time high of NASDAQ. It was a low-risk place to try, and haven't had follow through, so I'm out. But I would like to see some consolidation before buying, or even a pullback. It's a little bit hard when it's such a straight line. Feels dangerous, but yeah, I mean, the bias should be long. Russell. The Japanese stock market is not going away. It looks like it might be ready, actually. So, I want to put this over here somewhere. High time frame ideas. Short USD peso. Short USD Singapore dollar. Long indices. Short USD Japanese dollar. Short crypto in January. I also want to consider, I want to look at some of the ag commodities. But we're saying, okay, maybe just a correction. I think I need to like try to avoid shorting the US stock market indices because they just trend towards infinity until something really different would have to happen. But I can always trade something else, right? I mean, look at this absolutely beautiful system trade where, okay, we sweep the January high in February, short here. Starts to move, so add on this day. I just need to survive for these things to happen. I'm like for sure over trading. So as we're advancing our stop, we would get stopped out on this day here, which would be an 18R. However, we could sell again on either of these days, although we get stopped out again here. Yeah, I mean, gold and silver was the better play, I believe. It was a lot less choppy. But yeah, I need to rethink about like getting myself into this peak state where I'm sort of euphoric and I want to maintain a little bit of caution. And also there's an advantage to doing my work later. Like I'm working about an hour early. Sometimes it hurts me, but I like my schedule. So Yeah, nice recovery, but still kind of a warning sign of this big red day. I would be happy to do nothing. Yeah, the Japanese stock market. I would like the long a day like that, but I'm not going to trade today. Yeah, I would just be looking to chase some of these things higher. Commodity. I want to get back on my chart coffee. Coffee futures. Wheat. These are a lot harder to trade for me because the hours are super weird. Wheat futures. Soy. Soybean futures. Interesting. Corn. Agricultural futures trading hours. Yeah, I'm just gonna work through today. Try to. Look at how short the trading window is. It's only a 5-hour window. Wheat futures trading hours. Okay, 8 to 2:20. Eastern time. So the problem is 2:20 Eastern time. Well, it's 5 hours before that. Wait, 9:20. FTMO instruments. Corn. Market will open in 4 hours. Okay, actually, maybe it is tradable. 3 and 16. Okay, it has a lot of hours, actually. Let's look at this. Corn is wheat. Are these all the same? Wheat, coffee. Coffee's got pretty limited hours. Okay. GMT time. GMT plus 2 is 12 hours ahead of me. So, soybean. So maybe I don't trade coffee. 12 hours ahead of me. So, 4:30 to, what is 21:20 minus 12? 9:20. But then it opens at 3. So I could just, okay, I could actually trade soybeans. I could just put my orders in at 3 p.m. That kind of works. Maybe not coffee. Coffee doesn't really work for me. Closes at 8:30. Let's look at what the commodities are though. Natural gas. Commodities. Corn, wheat. What about cocoa? This one as well. So let me pull off coffee. But wheat, corn, and soybean, I guess, are tradable for me. So I think part of my, okay, now that I've established I'm doing nothing, I'm kind of taking a high time frame approach. Let me consider putting some futures up. Yeah, look at what happened here though. That's so crazy. Like that's blown accounts right there. It's blown accounts. That's crazy. But a lot of the times you're short. It works great. So I'm going to let me draw some lines, some basic trend lines. I don't want EMAs on my chart. So what did I do yesterday in terms of what I looked at? I looked at South African rand and the Chinese. Okay. So I'm gonna do two of these. I'm gonna do corn and soy. Do they have beef? No. Or cattle. I would love to trade cattle futures. This thing trends, right? Can trend. Wow, yeah, look at that. Has some insane moves, but yeah, look at some of these nice trend breaks. Okay. I mean, I want to have this insane price action though, so I can kind of remember, or like, see how crazy corn can be at times. Where it'd be easy to be in a long here and you lose your whole account. So that is a risk that can happen with corn. So I would never be long corn and short corn in every account. It's okay to lose an account here or there though. This is a beautiful thing about trading many accounts on prop. I'm not planning on surfing. I heard the surf isn't that good, but I'm kind of getting antsy actually to go check on it. Okay, here's a lower volatility regime. Wow, look at the gap up on that. It's kind of perfect. stop. So do corn, and then we'll do soy. Yeah, stop loss won't always work. Wow, insane. I'll go back to 2010 and then that's good enough. Just kind of curious. If you're long here, you're having a bad time. By definition, the top of the market always occurs at the top.
What's up, man?
Hey, Abby, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing all right? Okay. That one is pretty clean. Mm, Okay, just a little bit further. Break out here. soy also. Soy or wheat? Yeah, some of the gaps here are so insane. What is the monthly? Let's compare the monthly. Soy versus wheat. Wheat looks a little bit more insane actually, so let's look at wheat. Then take a little break here. So the point is I'm going to go print these later. I really think I need to do some back testing, but I also have this weekend to do that. We're in an uptrend, but it's not a very clean uptrend. Like there's a play on war. What an insane day here, where it opens all the way up here. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be a great play. Something like that were to occur. Okay. Now let's look at some more regular price action. Yo, I mean the days on these looks crazy sometimes. There's a lot of false trend line breaks. I mean, something that happens. But the trend line is meant to kind of set the trend, right? Not be necessarily always be a trade in itself. Probably should have had volume on while doing these things, but I don't think volume is super interesting or important for futures. I think it's important for stocks. I mean, it trends so much harder. That's kind of what I'm looking for, right? Might even take off until the new year. Actual trading. It's kind of unlikely we see much good moves. Shit, I mean, this seems kind of untradeable. It's so out of control. Okay, check the chart, didn't see anything. So I'm gonna do a little bit of back testing. Not cherry pick back testing, but legit back testing on it could be either the yuan or it could be the peso. I guess so. Well, let's do the yuan because this is the one that I kind of copied. So I'm going to start in here. Have maybe another, I might go all the way till noon, but so. Okay, so we're in the weeds here. Yes, we've broken a trend line. We created this one as well. However, we swept here. So what I'm looking for, I could have been long from here, but I'm looking for a life up at the top. So why is my bias long? Because we're beginning to break trend lines. We had a pretty extreme move. We swept this low, and then this short isn't working. Also, I know price goes up, but okay, let's try here. Wow, I mean, as crazy as to catch that would have to be, well, I guess this pin bar, or something close to a pin bar, could have been a place to get long right there and have the stop under. I mean, that would be unexpected, but so then I suppose this is a longable we're holding above. Let's put our stop down here. See what happens. I'm going to play around with just always adding. It's more realistic of how I've been trading. That's crazy. Well, I mean, I did intentionally pick. Well, it's not always add just for time efficiency. So again, my system, I have no TP. I'm just trailing my stop. Yeah, so any of these days could get in. Any of these days could get in, right? Okay, maybe we're running out of juice. That's crazy. So I'm gonna actually back up because I want the pictures for this one. Um, okay. Call it a swing long, but really it's a trend long. Let's zoom in here. So I mean, I guess we can start from the big day. It's okay. It's more realistic, maybe. For stops, I'm going to use. I'm going to set my stops up like this. Does volume matter? I don't think so, because it's not an aggregate volume. Okay, the early entry would maybe work, but it'd be pretty hard to hold through that. The way I've been doing it, if we close at the actual high, just putting my stop. Okay. I'm supposed to ignore the first reversal anyways. Zoom out a bit. So here we're expecting maybe something to happen. At this point, we have a lot of profit locked in. this is crazy. Well, let's back up. In theory, I should have been stopped out here. Let's back up. So even if I didn't take the early entry, the first entry is a 7, the second one is a 6, and the third one is also a 6. So 7, 6, 6 would be 9 plus, I'll just say plus 20R. Now I'm going to do some back testing that, well, actually, let's plan forward so we can kind of see. So, I mean, we could try to long, but at this point when we lose this, this is kind of a sell signal. This could be a long. But when is it like, okay, it's time to get long again? Yeah, I mean, you could see I wouldn't say nothing would have worked, but hasn't been very exciting. So I'm looking to close. Let's try this. We have a big green day. We've got to close over. This seems like a no trade. No, I like adding. Okay, this is tough. We don't want to short here just because it's not really a swing high, it's monthly high. We're looking up here. Easy to get chopped around this area. Well, in theory, I would get stopped out on this day. Like so. Or actually, I would have been stopped out on this day. I might have even gone short. Could have longed on this day. Could have shorted on this day. So for this trend, we could be long here, gonna stop. We're never getting stopped out yet. We'll get stopped out on this day from entering on this day. Okay, I mean, I guess this day could have been a sell, right? As we actually took the highs up here. I mean, I also think this probably needs to be a TP right here. But this pin bar is maybe viable. Okay, looking for a close above. Okay, can we long there? Wouldn't have worked. But in theory, if we long up here, we get out a reverse right there. Like, where are we now? We're kind of in no man's land. Yeah, that would have been a nice sell. Not really. But it's just kind of choppy now. Like, what are we looking for to trade? Buying right here would be interesting. Mm, right. I mean, if we look this day, it's kind of gnarly, but selling that day could have worked. Like, this is sort of anticipatory. Any of these red days, I mean, really, once we start to be under this, I think the bias would shift. We'd probably just trade a different asset. This is where we would get stopped. So this trade might have been like a 1R. Okay. So for a signal, interesting. So a signal's coming in on these days, right? We're closing above, but I mean, this day is a signal, right? This is a breakdown of a consolidation of the low of the month, actually. Can I turn this on to show the current month? Show and confirm levels, yes. Where, okay, we ignore the first reversal because we have a high time frame trend break. So my stop's gonna be not yet. Here we get stopped out. Yeah, I need to get better at doing nothing. I don't think I'm doing a great job recently. USD, CNH, swing short. This day. also lost this high. That was probably worth paying attention to actually on this day. Okay. Short here with a stop here. I mean, so we're gonna ignore the first reversal because why? Ignore first reversal after trend line break. It's a rule that must be respected. Okay. Theory can jump in anywhere. What's happening fundamentally to cause this? Don't know. Don't need to know. So we end up getting stopped out right here. How much did we make on this? 4. No, sorry, we stopped out here. Nothing too crazy. 3, 5, about 5. Plus 5 is still a pretty good trade. But, I mean, this is why it would have been better to trade something strong instead of doing like this. So, I mean, I'm looking for longs at this point after taking that out, especially the trend line break, but I would probably buy that big green day. Looking to be long in here. Trend line break. Okay, so I'm not going to be short here because of this potential trend line break. Instead, I would buy on this day, which wouldn't work. Just trade other things as this is happening. Okay, here's a clean signal buying a breakout. Would it work? It would work. to a point, it would run from, it wouldn't work that amazing necessarily from here to here, 1.5R. Although there'd be an opportunity to add a little bit, buying here, see what happens, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of wheat and then a pow. Stopped out, but I would try on this pin bar. We'd be stopped in profit here, depending on ads though. Try again here, maybe. Would get stopped out here. That would be a 6 on its own. Super interesting. There's no signal. To be a seller here. So I kind of like sticking with being a buyer. Would be stopped out in profit there, but depends if I added. I'm gonna try being a buyer again here. Maybe I would be stopped out in some kind of profit, but I would maybe try being a buyer here again. Would get stopped out right up here. +4 on this position. Closing near the high of the day, closing over these lines. This looks like maybe it's worth a try here. Nope. Pin bar. We're buying pin bars, right? They've been working. Failed breakdown of the lows. We would get stopped out up here. Yeah, need to be careful buying too late. Okay. Well, at this point, we didn't quite sweep the high, but yeah, okay. I kind of like what I see. Let us go do a little back testing of wheat and then call it a day. Wheat was the one, right? Wheat or corn? Let's do a little corn, back testing of corn. Just jump in mid-trend. I mean, I do know it's going up, so it's a little bit biased. But back testing is always going to be biased. So we're in an uptrend. We're actually closing above the highs. This looks like a good day to buy if like we're trying to be long, right? A big pin bar with the close up at the highs looks great. Let's try that. So weird. Like it opened up here and then closed here. Okay, stopped out. However, try again with the pin bar at the highs. We don't have a sell signal, So let's stick with the buys. In theory, I might have been stopped out again here. Probably would have advanced my stop. This trend line is not clean at all. I'm a little bit worried about this trend line, but nothing's really happening. It's not really working. Okay, let's jump in on a bigger day now. Although this pin bar day looked pretty good too. In theory, I could be doing some add-ons. I want this printed. So, I mean, the actual signal day is here. So let's start here. We had a failed breakdown, right? I'm going to do most of the actual backtesting offline. So like whatever work I'm doing, I'm going to download all these images. So why is this along? Very simply in my system, close above a monthly high. This monthly high is 21 days old as well. It's also a bullish pin bar. And if I was long, I would have been stopped out on the other one. So it's a pretty clean setup. This is a good place to add an advance. So a little bit of a look at the highs, but do one more. I mean, we're trending. Let's take advantage of the situation. What is happening? Fuck it, we ball. Almost stopped, but not quite. At this point, I really want to lock in. So I'm going to walk my stop up higher. closing. I mean, at this point, other trend following systems are even going to kick in. Yeah, same thing. At this point, I just want to lock in. It's crazy. It's the first day of the month, but we could stay for a minute. Walk the stop up. Probably get stopped out here, but that's what had happened. Yeah. So this trade would be a +5, +7, a 10, 22, +30R. And you could make a bunch jumping in later too. Okay. What happens from here? It actually goes much higher. So let's actually back up and just kind of make the 10 here. Oops. I want to open all of them. Just this one. Let's delete this. Going wherever, right? This looks like a great place to exit, or at least walk my stop up again. That's crazy. Yeah, 8, 20, 36, +16, 54. Sorry, not 16, 36, 52. Say +50. Nearly done with my day here. It's ran on longer than I would have preferred. I'm going to go print all this stuff and study later. I'm going to do a quick review of where we are. Wow, it actually had another excellent trend that happened right here. And then didn't really go, yeah, it kind of went from here. Not the cleanest because of this insane candle here. But it is almost impossible to catch this move because we're looking to be short, probably. No, maybe we long that pin bar. Yeah, I gotta be careful. Follow some accounts. Have we had any good trends? Yeah, a couple good trends from here, from this day. As far as like the system's concerned, not like the most clean. But here, once we start, yeah, that's kind of crazy. So we had a huge. I mean, it doesn't look tradable to me just because it looks so weird. Okay, let's kind of scroll back through before logging off here. So I'm flat everything. Soybean futures. It's not tradable at the moment. Oil. If we could close over the trend line, I might be interested. But it's not really a long-term trend line. Gold. Closing at the high. So one of my ideas was to buy gold, silver, platinum, but it's okay. Crypto, Bitcoin's turning around and it's going higher. Sticking with my Bitcoin along from down here would have worked great. And I mean, it's within the system, and yeah, I think I was just biased to like try for this ETH short, which didn't really make sense. Yeah. Dollar down. Ooh, dumping even more just right now. So JPY would have worked. Mexican peso, Singaporean dollar. Yeah. Yeah, Swedish krona actually is kind of interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, I was long from here, so if I was still in this long, it would look like this. But I mean, for sure better than all the shit I did. But yeah, I mean, I'm not buying a red day. I just need a new system. Like, this trend is not really tradable for me. This. Well, I'm supposed to keep the stop behind this green day and then be behind this green day. So, I mean, I guess it was buyable down here. Keep my stop super wide. GBP wouldn't have really worked because it keeps actually taking out these lows. Okay. Last one is indices, which haven't recovered, but what I would like to see them is consolidate over Christmas and New Year's, and then come into the New Year's with a breakout or a breakdown. Yeah. All right, let's get it. Much love, y'all.